Welcome to day 2 of the orbit. This is my orbit. Yesterday I talked about metaphysics, I talked about noumena. If you want to know more about what metaphysics is, you can click on the link above, right here, to go look at it. But today I feel like I want to talk more about metaphysics, just because I talked about how metaphysics includes substratum, or substance, in the universe. But first you might be thinking, what the hell do I know? Why am I just this random person sprouting off in philosophy and random topics that I might not know anything about? Well, I'm a philosophy and history major at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. And not only am I a major in philosophy, but I am very versed in it. I'm immersed in philosophy on a daily basis, and I read philosophy all the time. There's books all over my room. There's books everywhere. So I've read at least a little bit of every big philosopher, and every philosopher that actually had a big concept. So I'm not saying I know everything, but I have a pretty big degree of things that I know. So hopefully that's enough for me to be sprouting off in various subjects like this. But today let's talk about substance or substratum. I'll use those interchangeably. Yesterday I talked a little bit about substance and substratum. I should just stick with one of those words, either substance or substratum. But substance is the English word. I talked about that as being a metaphysical object, or it's a metaphysical definition as things that make up the world, or the thing that makes up the world. Like Spinoza, he had his substance, mode, and attribute was the essence of the substance, and the modes were different reflections of the attribute. I don't really remember very much about Spinoza right now, but I'll talk more about him later too. But that's the best definition of substance. So I want to talk about today about Presocratics, philosophy that occurred before Socrates. Philosophy exploded in Greece, in ancient Greece. So a big place to start with substratum is in many Presocratic philosophers. So let's start with Thales. Thales was probably the first one ever. But his philosophy was that the substance of the earth and people and everything else was water. Just this, water. The water was his idea of a substratum. And then there are other philosophers that are just like him that have a substance that is similar to that, but it's just a different one. Another big thing about Thales and other Presocratic substance philosophers is that the cosmos, the universe, everything that's the expansion of the universe. Thales, along with Anaximander, I think even Anaximenes, they just called this whole entire cosmos just the indefinite. So they reduced it down to just a indefinite, possibly infinite being, or not a being, but a space. So that's why things like substances like water and other things can work, just because of that. And then another substance Presocratic philosopher was Anaximenes. Anaximenes was another one who thought that air was the substance of the universe. Like Thales, water, who thought water was the whole thing of the universe. Anaximenes thought it was air. So it's just a different substance. I think that all of these adhere with Spinoza's identification and understanding of what substance is. And I think with this, you could even figure out what the mode and attribute of one substance would be. So. Okay, another one. Heraclitus, that's a big one. Okay, he had a big dualism. A dualism, I think, was of the things that make up the universe. Both were logos and fire. Fire, I think, is often interpreted as a substratum, and often interpreted in other ways. Well, it's not interpreted, but it's seen in other ways, and I think he expresses it in other ways as not just a substratum. So, fire is one big one, and then logos is flux and disagreement and opposition. So, that's one way to that's another way to describe substance. Okay, another one would be Empedocles. Empedocles had 4 different substratum. That includes air, fire, water, and earth. And all philosophers before him had held that one of those was the substance of the universe at some point in time. So he's kind of bringing a lot of substance metaphysics philosophies together and taking them and claiming them as his own, because he believes all 4 of those to be a part of the universe. And finally, let's discuss the atomists of Leucippus and Democritus. They are called atomists because they believe that many uncuttables, or atoms, are what made up the universe, and those are the substance of the universe. So that, I think, is a good way to end this discussion of Presocratic substance metaphysics. And then this goes on beyond these Presocratics. It goes to Plato with his forms, and on to way past that, and then it goes, there's Leibniz's monads, and there's, again, like I said earlier, Spinoza's substance, mode, and attribute, and there's Kant's noumena. Well, that's not really a substance, though. I cut that out. Okay. Noumena is not a substance, so totally discredit me for saying that. I lose. Okay. What do you think the world is made up of? I mean, what is a substance that you think makes the world? So, I mean, what do you think it is? Please tell me in the comments, and then also, what in philosophy do you think that I should talk about? I mean, this is my second day, so I got 363 days left, so I have a lot of things that I can talk about in the next 363 days of this year. So, please tell me in the comments what substance you think makes up the universe, the cosmos, the indefinite, and then please also tell me what else in philosophy you would like me to discuss. Thanks. Later.